Well, we have an exciting interview today from somebody who is just back from the renowned Edinburgh Festival Fringe. She spent most of her August acting there. So I'm going to explain a little bit about what this thing is. The population of Edinburgh, Scotland is only 530,000. But every August, for around 25 days, they run the largest, biggest arts festival in the world, which was started in 1947. To give you an idea, this year it ran 25 days, sold 2.6 million tickets, had 53,942 performances of 3,893 shows in 301 venues with participants from 68 countries. So just think how big this is. And back in its history, some of the careers that kind of started there were Lin-Manuel Miranda of Hamilton, Robin Williams, Emma Thompson, Maggie Smith, Judi Dench, and the musical Six and Stomp. So in the middle of all this year was Molly McFadden, who for 10 years lived in Midland and is now in, I forgot where, Cincinnati, I think it is. And she did a show she wrote. So, how many, first tell us a little about the venue. What was your venue like?
Okay, good to see you. Now I live in Cleveland.
Yeah, God, sorry.
That's okay. I love Cincinnati. Well, they both begin with a C.
Exactly.
So, anyway, wow. I love how you introduced and provided some history because that really puts into perspective what it was like.
Yes.
I was at the Gilded Balloon, which was a marvelous, it's a school during the day, I think for engineering, but they go into all the big halls and they create little small black boxes.
Oh my gosh.
And they do it with movable walls, small stage curtains, chairs, sound, lights, and it's all really quite wonderfully put together. They have hundreds of volunteers, young people who are just from all over the world and couldn't be nicer. And you arrive in Edinburgh and you hit the ground running. You do a tech. Yeah. You do a tech, cue to cue, and then you run your show. So Katie barred the door. You gotta be ready. And we were ready. We were very ready because I had done the show here in Cleveland at the Clay Playhouse. They were lovely to let me do 3 performances to really run it and get whatever kinks out. So there we are. We did the tech, went smooth as silk. Then we ran the show, smooth as silk, and did 25 performances. So it was called the Gilded Balloon. And most of the people, and it was 3 floors. And they had.
How many theaters would have been in there?
I want to say, that's a good question, Janet. And shooting from my hip, I'm going to say maybe 15.
Oh, wow. 20. Okay.
Yeah. They had some large rooms, with a proscenium stage down in the basement, probably would seat 150. And then they had these small breakout rooms. Most of the acts that were there were children's. They had theater.
Oh, no.
Pieces. And they had comedians, magicians, a group of musicians as well. And my show, I was the only type of my show that was there.
How many seats about?
I had 50 seats in the house, okay. 50. And good visibility, good sound, good everything. Was really top notch. When you go and you put yourself into something like this, you don't know what the parameters are.
Right.
It was all, I sighed a big sigh of relief after the test. I went, and they provided, the set pieces, they got them there. And the first day we're all clamoring to find our studio, and we're bumping into people from all over the world.
Oh, I imagine. Yeah.
So it was quite exciting, and the energy was very high, very high.
Some days did you fill the place? Some days did nobody show up? What was kind of the...
Well, that's a good question too. What I learned as I did this, people who had been to the festival before, and I didn't realize a lot of people returned, had a better turnout because they were able to develop and network. A lot of young artists had developed and networked with, people all over the world and their audience. So they had much bigger houses than I did.
Okay.
I think they were young, they were doing comedy, or they were doing magic. And those seemed to really pack them in. I was never empty.
Okay.
So that's the good news. We went anywhere from 30 people to 10. That was the spectrum. At first I was disappointed, but then I was told, no, that's success. And I went, wow. So you arrive on the shores of Scotland and you learn quickly to measure success in a different way. Brian was there, and bless his heart, they said, network, hand out the flyers, talk about the show. And that's what he did.
Okay.
When we got, and Brian was perfect because I watched people handing out flyers and they didn't really engage with the people and ask permission. They just shoved a flyer in their face. Not my sweet husband. He just quietly, with that Irish charm, walked up, introduced himself. People were like, whoa, oh, okay, what a gentleman. And once we got the reviews, we got a 5-star and a 4-star, which we were thrilled, because a lot of performers didn't get reviews and didn't get reviews. Yeah. And so that was the biggest win for us. And so it allowed Brian to say, well, my wife just got a review, and he talked about the show. And had he not done that, we would not have had the audiences. That really,
you gotta sell the show. Right.
You do. And so at times it felt like I was at a circus. Ringling Brothers Circus. Yep. At times it felt like it was a cross between Woodstock and a heavy metal concert. I mean, it was just, it'll take so many months to continue to unpack and understand. But you hit the ground running, and you're performing every day, every single day.
I got to thinking about your career. And when you were in Midland, you acted a lot at the Center for the Arts. Mm-hmm. Yes, you've been a cabaret singer, which is continuous performances. But as an actress, have you ever done that many performances of a single show in that quick of time?
No, that's a great question. Thank you.
Yeah.
It made me think of all the people on Broadway.
Yeah.
And I remember I knew folks who, were in the chorus of musicals, and I said, oh my God, it must be wonderful. And they're like, it is, but it's a job. And you show up and you do it day after day in matinees. You get a day off and you just lapse. And that's what we did. That's exactly, Brian and I had all this energy, and we were staying in a beautiful apartment that was across the river, but we had to run and get buses to get to the Gilded Balloon, and the population quadruples.
I've heard that, yeah.
And so there's so many people on the streets, so many people on the buses, and then you run up, and so many hills. As Brian said, he said, gee, when I'm walking downhill, I'm still walking uphill. But he lost weight, and by the end he was running after the buses. Okay. And I was like, well, look at him go. I was not too far behind. fine.
But
So
did you get exhausted or no?
yes,
Okay.
I did.
Yeah.
After our first week of 11 nonstop shows, I had one day off and I just
Oh!
laid on the couch. I
Oh,
just laid on the couch. The next run was 14. And by the way, you also, after my show was in the afternoon, so in the evening, I tried to go and see as many shows as I
I was
could.
going to ask that if you did.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Shows of friends. My friend Beth Links, known as Arlene Hutton, had a play there. Brian got to see her. I unfortunately didn't because our day off was the same day. But you did try to get to see other shows. So you could be open to this cosmic theatrical swimming pool of all these incredible, talented. Everybody was lovely. Everybody was so friendly. There was such a feeling of camaraderie and share. So it also reminded me of summer camp.
Oh,
At
an older age. Yeah.
a very older age. So, but yeah, we did. We got to see other shows. Unfortunately, we never made it up the hill to the castle.
Oh.
I didn't have the energy.
Yeah.
I mean, it was so up the hill, Janet, and it's called the Royal Mile. But I kept referring it to the Miracle Mile.
Yeah, it's a miracle if you can even.
And Brian said, no, it's the
right.
Royal. I said, well, let's call it the Loyal Mile. Anyway, and you're just crushed by people, and I went, I don't have the energy to go and walk through a castle.
So the people that attended your performances, varying in ages, varying in countries?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, that was what was wonderful. I had people from all over the world and different ages, different ethnicity, and they all wanted pictures. They all wanted pictures. Okay. And after the show, it's an emotional message.
Yeah, I know. I'm thinking of how to do that many days in a row. And it's basically, yeah.
And so a lot of people needed to process. What was interesting, a numerous amount, basically, gentlemen, maybe in their 60s and 70s, many of them, they would just start sobbing.
Oh.
And they said, I needed this.
Oh.
I needed this, and they just hadn't dealt with the loss of either a loved one or a parent. Children, young adults who came to the show were blown away and again sobbing. And yet it's a story of hope. And the reviews I got, they said, the show has you laughing 1 minute, crying the
next. And for people, we need to explain a little. It's called Living on the Moon.
Yeah.
It's got a puppet. I think I see her peeking up there, called Memory.
Hello, Janet.
Hi, sweetie.
How are you, darling? You look fabulous.
I've heard that this has all gone to your head, though. That you think you're really hot stuff now.
Well, honey, I am. I am an international star. I went to the Eiffel Tower in Paris.
I heard that.
And they frisked me, and I loved it.
So what this show is about, and it's hard to comprehend, is Memory is Molly's mother who had Alzheimer's. And yes, it's funny, and yes, it's sad, and it's you really got to see it. She came to Midland almost a year. It would be a year ago. You came in August, didn't you?
I came at 1999. Yeah. And we celebrated, the new millennium there in Midland.
Yeah. But I meant the show. You did the.
The show. We came 2 summers ago in August.
Was it 2 summers? Okay.
Right.
So my question is, that had a daughter character in it and a musician. Did the show change?
Yes, it did change.
Okay.
Now, do you mind taking a break for a minute? Well, if I must, but I will be back.
I'm sure.
Yes, we Brian and I, and I got a director, and I said, if I want to take this show on tour, which is essentially what I want to do, because it's a message of hope. The whole point of view of my show is not to give up or give in to this devastating disease. I fortunately am able to get early diagnosis and take a drug known as Leqembi, and I'm fighting a good fight, and I'm winning. So in the show, I illustrate how devastating it was for my mom because we were so close, in the 12 years that I went through with her and the trauma of that.
Right.
Through the course of the show, it was realized, well, really, it's your story. And unfortunately, I had to let go of the character of the daughter, because it really wasn't going to financially prove to be beneficial. And some people said, actually, the daughter kind of took away from your message. And I went, okay, well, then that's fine.
I would agree.
And then the same thing with the musician. It was like, nope, you've got to keep it just you and the puppet. So we pre-recorded the music.
Okay.
And I'm able to sing to pre-recorded music, which I never had done before. And I was concerned, but it was fine. I did fine. And so it allowed the telescope to come in tight between this mother-daughter relationship, and memory is there to help me face my reality, to have courage, to fight back and have hope. And once she succeeds in that message, she goes, well, I'm going to go take a nap now. So it's clean, it's a thorough thread, and it's an honest to goodness journey from beginning to end, because I come on stage like I'm in a cabaret room and I'm doing a cabaret.
Right.
She's in a trunk and I'm doing fine, but she can just stay in there so long. So we hear knocking.
Okay.
And then I bring her out and I establish the rules right up front, which is, I have a vivid imagination. I loved my mom. I had to store my memories and my stories. Okay. So I created a puppet. And then we just take off to the end. And what is wonderful about the story and the journey and where it's developed truly in this reiteration is we're not chasing it. It's planted and we're sharing it and we come to a conclusion. Okay. And I'm very proud of it. I think, it's been a process, obviously, since 2019 when I started with this idea. Because, Janet, I wanted to portray the devastation of Alzheimer's on individuals and families in a different way than what I'm used to seeing, which is always so, they're already lost. They're already, coming to it. And that is horrible. And I went, let's broaden the story a bit. Let's add music and a puppet and pathos. And when I got diagnosed, and fortunately, mild cognitive impairment, and I'm grateful for the Cleveland Clinic, they said, no, you can beat this. You won't succeed in alleviating it, but you can hold it at bay. Okay. And I went, whoa, that's huge. That's huge.
That's huge. So, yeah.
That's huge. And I go, how do you do that? And they said, well, diet, exercise, stay active. The writing and the performing is terrific for my brain. So I started all that, and then I had a successful turn with the Leqembi for 18 months, and I had a PET scan. Plaque is all gone. Wow. All gone. And they peeled it all away. And so that combined with my tau levels, TAU, they're on borderline, which is also a good indicator. I just have a lot of good positive aspects to this, unlike a lot of folks. And I'm very aware of that and very grateful of that.
Yep.
And so I was hoping people would take away the message, don't be afraid to get your brain checked.
Yeah.
Fight it.
So where do you hope this show goes now? What was the reason to go there? And what do you hope the end result will be?
Well, we succeeded. We made connections, we got reviews, and now because I went to Edinburgh and it has a golden touch to it. Once you've gone to Edinburgh and you have reviews, all of a sudden you've arrived.
Yep.
You've
Well,
arrived.
Look at the names I gave. Yeah, right.
Right. And so I'm going to Florida in October to my alma mater. I'm a hometown gal coming back to Florida where my mom was a school teacher. And I'm hearing that the show is selling out because a lot of people remember my mom.
Okay.
And loved her. And so I'm excited. I've already been booked on a morning talk show for that. And then after that, I go to New York in November to celebrate Alzheimer's Awareness Month. And I'll be at one of the cabaret rooms I used to sing in, where my mom would come. And again, people are already getting excited. There is a plan afoot to maybe get a big caravan from Cleveland to go.
Yeah, why not?
I mean, it's building, and Memory and I are just we're on the path moving forward, and we'll see what happens after these events. It was hard coming home from Edinburgh and stop performing and to let it all go. I'm sure you talk to performers who go, letdown.
Big letdown. Yep.
But my body rested.
Yeah.
And I just said, well, and I'm lucky because Eastside, the pharmaceutical company, I'm in Women's World this month, the magazine, Women's World.
Okay.
And they, they're not a press agent, but they said, we want to help to share your story. So whenever I do something, they say, let us know, and we will email our media contacts.
Okay.
Well, that's gold.
That's huge. Yeah.
Gold. And the fact that they are supportive of what I'm doing and right there behind me, they're adding wind in the sails, So I will see, what's next, how we move forward, what will unfold.
What was the biggest, if to sum it up, what was the biggest takeaway of this experience in Edinburgh?
That I have a universal theme, that I was concerned, being an American, an older white woman with a puppet. I mean, really, that's a hard sell. It's like, what is this? What is she doing? No, I succeeded in a universal way, no matter the culture, the age, the ethnicity, or my message crossed all boundaries.
That's great.
All boundaries, Janet. And it was intoxicating. So I went, wow, the show really, really works. It works. And I'm amazed. Also, I'm amazed at how people, my friend Beth, she said, I know your lips move when you talk for that puppet, but that puppet was real.
See, that's when I came to it, and I think I said it in my review, she became a person. Because you see, and I see your lips move, and nothing against you, but when I watched you, I stopped watching you and watched her. Yeah.
And that's the way it should be.
Yeah, right.
No, she is her own entity.
Yeah.
She just is, and my husband, and people say, you got a gift there. And it's like, well, I think I have a story.
Correct.
And I'm a performer and a writer, and I can funnel it all in through this wonderful makeshift of a puppet, because a puppet can say things other people maybe cannot say.
And she does.
Oh, honey, trust me.
What do you think your mother would think of this back when she was very lucid? What would she think of this?
She'd love it, because when I would go, oh my Lord, and I feel her presence. I got to tell you, she's here.
Okay.
She's loving it, because When she was in the nursing home in New Jersey and really succumbing to the depths of disappearing before my eyes and not being cognizant whatsoever. In growing up, I used to do voices and I would do improvs, and she loved it. And when I was at the nursing home and I would be singing or I would be talking for our beagle that we had, Princess, and Princess was going to go to Hollywood. And Princess had a voice. She was way up here. I'm going to go to Hollywood and be a star. She woke up. The eyes became animated. She smiled and she laughed. I touched some.
I've heard that with Alzheimer's. So you've been doing this a while, imitating others. Okay.
My whole life.
Okay.
My whole life. And I just thought everybody did that.
Well,
Brian tells me, no, honey.
No, honey.
I love to do a lot of voices and I love to talk for animals, dolls, whatever. And Brian, he's always said, well, I always wanted to have a large family.
Exactly. And he does.
He does.
Well,
So
I probably should let you go. It's been a half hour, but it's so exciting that you did this. And I wanted to wrap it up. So keep me posted what happens, okay?
I will. And thank you again for your review. You were the first one. And I did get it in the PR over in Edinburgh. I got you in.
Okay.
Yeah, because I went, that's my friend.
Okay. Thanks again.
Thank you.